Hi there everyone, welcome to my January 2019 weigh-in and update video. Happy New Year. So this video, initially I thought I'd sit down and make some notes, figure out a timeline, something, but then I decided that that's really not me. So per usual, I'm gonna turn on the camera and I'm just gonna ramble. And hopefully it makes some sense. So for those of you who are new, my name is Misty. I started this channel almost 4 years ago, which is kind of crazy. Initially to document my weight loss journey and to also have a home for videos that I wanted to do that weren't related to my crafting videos, which are on the Jolly Fat Elf channel. Excuse me. So I started keto on March 6, 2017 at 425 pounds. And I weighed in last January 2018 at 371 pounds. And I weighed in this January at 379 pounds. So I'm actually up 8 pounds from last year. I actually got down to 357, I think is what it was. But I was on my deathbed, kinda. So that doesn't really count. So to kind of give you a Cliff's Note version of me and what's been going on, especially, you know, if you've never found me or followed any of my other updates, the last 3 years of my life have been the worst. I just turned 40 in 2018 and it's just been hell, basically. Let's just call it a spade, since about March 2016. So in March of 2016, I started experiencing depression and anxiety to a point where I felt like I needed to be medicated and I needed to be in therapy. And then in July of 2016, I had a skin cancer removed. In August of 2016, I had emergency gallbladder surgery. In September of 2016, they found nodules on my thyroid and thought I had thyroid cancer. In October of 2016, the symptoms of my disease started. And then November and December was again with the thyroid. And then 2017, again, which I thought was the worst year of my life, I'm dealing with trying to get a diagnosis for what has now been diagnosed as myasthenia gravis. Myasthenia gravis is an autoimmune disease. It's a neuromuscular junction disorder. It's on kind of, I know a lot of people don't like it when I say this, but a lot of people have never heard that, but you've heard of like muscular dystrophy. It's kind of along the same road as that. Whereas it causes a lot of weakness. It messes, like the junction where the nerves and the muscles talk, that my body is attacking that area. So an autoimmune disorder just means that your immune system is in overdrive, attacking a part of your body that shouldn't be attacked. So I had that diagnosis, which ended up me having to not lose my job, but leave my job. And now I am officially disabled at 40, almost 41. I also received the diagnosis from a neurosurgeon of OPLL, which is the ossification of the posterior longitudinal ligament. I don't know how I always remember that. And some days I can't even remember my last name. And essentially that is where the ligaments in my spine are calcifying. They're basically turning to bone. And that both of those are genetic in nature. And then I also have spinal stenosis, which is also genetic. And that just means my spinal canal is narrowing. So I have a disease that is attacking my muscles, which is causing weakness. I have a disease where my spinal canal is basically smaller than it should be. And then I have a disease which causes the ligaments in that already small spinal canal to turn to bone. So I deal with a lot of issues every single day. I'm also type 2 diabetic. I was diagnosed diabetic since 2006. Yeah, May 12th, 2006. And the only reason why I remember that, it was the day of my graduation from graduate school. So I initially started keto before I had any kind of diagnosis other than diabetes, because at the time I was insulin dependent, and starting keto was a way to hopefully get off insulin, and I was able to. So I thought 2017 was going to be the absolute worst year of my life, and then 2018 said, hold my beer. And 2018 was, it was hard. And are you done, mamas? Thank you for that interruption. Appreciate it. So as I was saying, sorry, Roxy used the letterbox. It's in our sunroom. Anyway, 2018 said, hold my beer. And after, you know, like I said, I was in the hospital, I turned 40, I developed vertigo, and then I stumbled into probably the darkest 6 months of my life. I've never felt depression like that before, and it was just so difficult to deal with, to live through, to change medications. It was just, it was rough. So I switched from Wellbutrin. I was on 450 milligrams of Wellbutrin. I switched to 300, or I don't know, 60, I don't know, Cymbalta. And that didn't work. I hated it. I felt like it was making me feel worse. So got off that. But so dealt with depression. Then I started having issues with my thumb, which I eventually had to have surgery. I am almost 1 month post-op, and the doctor removed my stitches last week. Week before last week. And told me it would be 3 to 6 months before I regained full mobility. And then in September, I started a drug called Farxiga to help treat the diabetes, because within all of this, I started having issues with my blood sugar again. Like I said, I'd gotten off insulin, and I had lived insulin free for months, and then out of the blue, I started having issues. And the problem is that, like I mentioned, I have an autoimmune disease, and the way to treat an autoimmune disease for the most part is through immune suppression therapy. Basically, they just give me medication that suppresses my immune system so it stops working. I'm taking the same drug that transplant recipients take. That way they don't reject their new organ. And if you know anything about diabetes, whether it's type 1 or type 2, any kind of infection or any kind of change in your body can cause your blood sugars to run high. They can be elevated. And unfortunately, mine have been no matter what I do. So I tried Farxiga, and the first couple of weeks I was fine. And then I posted a video on how to lose 15 pounds in 7 days. And I was so excited. This was the end of September, 1st of October. I was so excited that I was losing weight and that I was registering, you know, ketones, not knowing that I actually had diabetic ketoacidosis, and my body was basically shutting down, getting ready to die. On a Thursday, I ended up taking the ambulance to the hospital and ended up with ICU. Like I said, I basically almost died. So, and from then on out, I was like, no new medicine for diabetes. So I went back on metformin. Number one, it didn't do anything to help control my blood sugar, and I was just having too many issues with it. I know all of you, several of you gave, you know, eat it here, you know, eat it with this. None of those things ever worked. I had issues with metformin when I was very first on it, and that was, what now, 12, 13, almost 13 years ago. So I went back to my doctor, and I think the last update I filmed was like a day or two before the appointment. I can't remember, but that was probably the most frustrating doctor's appointment I've had since finding my doctor. I love my doctor. I think he hung the moon. I trust him with my life, but it was such an aggravating appointment because I don't want to go back on insulin. And unfortunately, I may have to, because my body is rebelling and we can't seem to find a balance in treating both diseases, the myasthenia and the diabetes. Now the OPLL, the reason why I'm on such a, now I have like a definitive number. Before I was like, oh, if I lose weight, I lose weight. Now I have a definitive number because I met with a neurosurgeon. The only way to treat the OPLL is with having surgery. So he wants me at 200 pounds. So that's my like final weight goal. Surgery goal, as you will. But it's just been so hard, and it was just a hard struggle just to get through it. I mentioned I got off Cymbalta. I told my doctor in that appointment, I was like, I feel like it's making me more depressed. So I started titrating off of it. I was on 60s and then I moved down to 30s, and this past Tuesday was the last day that I took a pill. So I am now completely off antidepressants, and I am worried, but also anxious to see if I can kind of get some feelings and stuff back together after being off of it. So a lot of you also made comments about me saying, you guys saying there's no such thing as normal. When I say I want to get back to normal, I mean my normal before myasthenia, my normal where I could flip and take a shower every morning, get up, get dressed, go to work, walk, go grocery shopping, all of those things that I can't do now, those things that I flip and took for granted for all those years. I didn't have my first shower this week until yesterday, which was Thursday. And that's because I've been sick. And, unlike before when I wasn't on immune suppression therapy, I'd be sick, I'd have a couple of days, I'd bounce right back. And now it's like, it drags out forever. It makes me even more tired and weak than I was before. And then I get it's just like I just feel like it's like I'm a hamster on a wheel. Because it's like, I have so many things that I want to do, so many things that I need to do. And some days I can barely manage to get out of bed, and it pisses me off. It makes me so flippin' angry that my body is going through all this. But at the end of the day, there's nothing I can do. There's nothing I can do. I mean, my biggest concern was that it was something that I did to cause it, but I didn't. I mean, my weight is my cause, but the rest of it's not. So anyway, during that appointment, we talked about, I said, if you never met, because I asked him, I said, do you think losing 50 pounds, or more pounds in the next, 5 to 6 months will help with the blood sugars? And at this point, no one is certain if it will, because it could just be that my pancreas has finally, shit the bed and it's not producing any insulin, let alone my body, absorbing it like it should be. So I basically begged and pleaded not to be on any medication till at least April or May, and he didn't agree with that. So I'm taking glipizide, which is a pill I took when I very first was a diabetic. I'm on like 10 milligrams. I honestly, I hate to even admit this, so don't do as I say, but I honestly haven't taken my blood sugar since probably the 1st of December. So number one, there's not much you can do, or not much I can do personally if my blood sugar is elevated, because I'm not on insulin. It's not like I can take an injection to lower it. It didn't matter what I was eating, even when I was, very low carb, doing whatever I needed to do in the, right way. So I just haven't taken my blood sugar. So yeah. But anyway, and then he suggested me going on, going to a weight loss clinic or whatever to have a monitored diet. And I was like, number one, I can't afford that bullshit. And number two, I said, why would you send me to a nutritionist? And he's like, what are you talking about? I was like, what is the nutritionist going to tell me? I said, how many carbs a day is she gonna tell me to eat? And he's like, yeah. I was like, I've had to see a nutritionist every year since my diabetes diagnosis, because that is one of the stipulations from my tribe, is that I have to meet with a diabetes educator and a nutritionist. And I do everything in my power to get out of those meetings, because they go by the American Diabetes Association guidelines. Speaking of, they reached out to me on Instagram and wanted to do a feature on me, and I said, I don't agree with a lot of the American Diabetes guidelines, and I never heard anything back. The thing about diabetes, actually the thing about any illness, is it affects every single person differently. There are some diabetics who can eat like they kind of normally would and not have any issues, and there's people like me who even sometimes 20 carbs a day is just way too many carbs. But you have the American Diabetes Association suggesting that you eat, 150, 250, 300 carbs a day, a meal, it just depends. So I don't need to pay someone to give me bad advice. And my biggest problem has been emotional eating. I'm an emotional eater, and it's been hard because I've been so depressed, and a part of me is like, I don't give a flying fuck, and the other part of me is like, yes we do, yes we do. So it's been so hard. So I went back and forth, and I said, what about a weight loss drug? And so he and I talked, that appointment was probably 45 minutes to an hour, because we just went over everything. And he said, we could do that. And I was like, I don't want to. I was like, I really don't want to. But at the same time, surgery isn't an option for me. And I know a lot of people think that weight loss surgery is a magic pill. And if you've had weight loss surgery and it's working for you, then God bless you. And if you are looking into it and you think it's the best option for you, I have no qualms against that. But weight loss surgery is not for me. Number one, it's dangerous. I know several people who died during the surgery. It's even more dangerous now, because as a person with myasthenia gravis, going under anesthesia is a huge risk. So much so that when I went to the hospital to have surgery on my thumb, I met with the anesthesiologist before, and we talked about the fact that I had it and if there were other options than him putting me to sleep, because it was a 15-minute surgery. I'm like, I don't need to sleep for 15 minutes. So we decided, to do just like they did like a tourniquet, and I don't know. Anyway, so, it's dangerous. 3% of people who have surgery are successful after 5 years with keeping off the weight. And again, it doesn't fix the mental issues that I have, because I don't, food becomes its own form of antidepressant. If you've never been an emotional eater, that probably doesn't make any kind of sense. But, it had gotten to the point, and again, it's not logical, but it had gotten to the point where my brain was like, why are we even worried about it? Because nothing we do, nothing I was doing was even working. So anyway, yeah. So for the sake of 100% transparency, I started Adipex, which is also called phentermine, on Monday, which was January the 7th. I'm on 37.5 milligrams, so I'm taking an entire pill. I swore after I graduated high school that I would never go on another weight loss drug. But at this point in time, it's the safer option for me rather than having weight loss surgery. So for those of you who are probably really young, but there was a pill called Fen-Phen. It's a huge craze. I went on it, and it was a magic pill. It really was a magic pill. I remember the first day I was on it, we had gone to a Chinese buffet and we'd never been to a Chinese buffet before in my hometown. And I was able to eat like a little piece of chicken, a piece of broccoli, and I don't remember what else I had, but that was it. Then I was full. And I lost almost 30 pounds in the first month on that. The issue I had with it and why I stopped it was I started noticing that I was having really bad mood swings. I mean, I was a teenager anyway. I think I was 17 at the time. So it was like right before my 18th birthday. So I was 17 at the time and I was already hormonal, but this just made things go total ape shit. And then I started noticing that I couldn't retain information. Like I had almost zero short-term memory. So I took myself off of it. I was on it just for a month. I did have enough damage to get, I think my check was like $2,000 from the class action lawsuit. So I've always been really hesitant about it, but at this point in time, I need a way to shut off that part of my brain. And that's kind of how it works. For me, it's not so much an appetite suppressant, but it takes the thought of food completely out of my head. Like I said, I started on Monday, and I don't sit around and think about food like I did before. And before I was diabetic, food was never really a huge thing on my mind. But once you're diabetic and you're trying to think about what you can and can't eat, then I feel like it kind of flipped the switch, especially then with keto, and you're like, okay, what can I, like, what's going to fit my macros, all these other things. It was like it flipped the switch and it became something that I obsessed about. But what has been really great about this pill so far, like I said, this is day 5, is that I don't think about food. Like it's not a conscious thought until my belly's like, hello, feed me, I'm hungry. So if anything, that for me is a win, because like I said, it was like I have the willpower to do it. It's just getting past the dealing with the emotional eating that has been the issue. So the thing about phentermine is you can only take it 6 months at a time. So I'm gonna take it until June, yeah. I have to see my doctor every month. It's a controlled substance, so I guess it's basically like speed, I don't know. But I have to see my doctor every month. He'll do an EKG and a couple of other tests to make sure that it's not causing any damage with my heart. If it gets to a point where I feel like I'm having any sort of reaction to it, then I'll take myself off of it. But it's what I'm giving a try for now. Now, I'm not saying that it's for everybody. I'm not saying that you should go out and get a drug. I'm not, this isn't a commercial for Adipex, also known as phentermine. This is just my journey and my story, and I try to be as authentic and transparent with you guys as I can be, because I know that it's not easy. I know there are a lot of you who are facing the same struggles that I am, and it's just hard. So I'm super disappointed in the fact that I didn't keep off any weight in 2018, but I'm also somewhat proud of myself that I gained 8 pounds, and I'm not up to 425 or even, 430, 435, even though I've never been that heavy before. So, I mean, if there's a silver lining in all of this, is that I've maintained a weight loss rather than gaining everything back. So I posted, I think on the 2nd or the 3rd, my word of the year video. I don't set New Year's resolutions. I haven't for a while now. So my word for 2018 was onward. I just felt like I needed to move forward from 2017. And I think it did a pretty damn good job of that until, again, shit hit the fan. So just being so depressed and being so down and just being so stuck on the negative, whatever was going wrong, and dealing with all these health issues in 2018, I've decided that my word for 2019 is joy. And I'm going to try to focus on little things that make me happy, bring me joy, or little things I can do to bring other people joy. It's been a rocky start to the year. Like I said, I've been sick, and it's taken way longer to recover than I was hoping it would. I don't have 100% mobility back in my hand, and my OPLL, I just feel like it's worse, and I have a feeling that I have that in other ligaments in my body. So it's, again, I could wallow in self-pity, which sometimes I do, or I can just try to live my life the best that I can and wake up each day, you know, feeling grateful that I almost could not be here. It's like 2019, the only way 2019 can be worse than 2018 if I were to pass away. And that's not something I'm ready to do. I mean, I don't know that anybody's ever ready to die, but I just want to do everything in my power to make sure that that's not something that happens, either willingly or, you know, not. That's my goal for 2019. Don't die. I'm going to put it on a t-shirt. So as far as my weight goal, I really want to lose, I need to lose 100 pounds. I've got to get myself closer to 200 because I don't know that I'm going to be able to make it to age 45. You know, like, I don't think I have many years in order to have that surgery to take care of what's going on. So that's really my weight loss goal. As far as way of eating, I'm gonna try to stick to keto, or at least as low carb as possible. I don't fast. I don't do intermittent fasting. I'm damn sure not gonna do the snake diet, and I can't do the snake diet. That was another thing. It's like, you have to supplement with electrolytes, and while I can supplement with potassium and salt, I cannot supplement with magnesium. So it wouldn't be something that I could do anyway, and it's also something that doesn't interest me. I'm more concerned with intuitive eating, which just means that you listen to your body's cues and you feed it when it's hungry. So could it be called fasting? Sure. I mean, I didn't eat until, it's like noon, and I didn't eat until 11:30 this morning. So that could be considered fasting, but it's just, I just eat when I'm hungry. And keeping it as low carb as possible. I may continue with carnivore. I mean, last January, I lost 15 pounds following carnivore, and I feel better while I'm on carnivore. I feel better when I'm eating, you know, little to no carbs. But there's also times where I crave strawberries, or I crave like zucchini or mushrooms. In fact, this week I cooked up zucchini, mushrooms, and onions, and I've been eating on that a little bit every day. So I'm not gonna deny myself when I want a vegetable, but at the same time, I'm not gonna try, you know, I'm not following Dr. Berg, who suggests 7 cups of it every day or something like that. So I'm just kind of doing my own thing. I don't know that I'll be back on MyFitnessPal. I don't know that I want to focus on macros or anything like that. A part of me just wants to focus on eating as low carb as possible, and, you know, not incorporating anything like that back into my diet. So yeah, there you go. I was all over the place, like I mentioned it would be. But yeah, sorry, I need a drink. Trenta iced coffee, no classic, heavy cream instead of milk for Splenda. Coffee order. So yeah, that's what I'm doing. So yeah, that's really it. I will probably get back into weigh-in videos every week, just sharing, and in those weigh-in videos, I may like share what I've eaten in the past week. I don't know, like I feel like I can't even commit to 3 videos a week on my Jolly Fat Elf channel, because there are days where I can do stuff and there are days where I just, honestly, I just can't. And so I don't want to feel like, I don't want to feel like setting a schedule and then being disappointed in myself, or have you guys be disappointed in me when I can't meet that schedule. So going forward, I want to try to do weekly weigh-in videos. I don't know what day of the month they'll be like, I don't know. I mean, what day of the week they'll be on. I am gonna start doing progress photos. I bought a tankini from Old Navy back in 2016, I think, and it didn't fit, and now it does fit. And I thought that would be a good way to do some, you know, progress pictures, and then have Rob help me with measuring and stuff. It's our 10-year, New Year's Eve, 2019 will be our 10-year wedding anniversary. When we got married, Rob had lost his job, and I had moved to Texas, and I was the only one of us working. So we just got married at the courthouse. I wore a $12 dress from Old Navy, and I bought Rob a cheap shirt from Ross. I mean, at the time it wasn't important to have a wedding. It was more about just being his wife. And we swore that we would do something for our 10-year anniversary. And I wanted to go like to the Virgin Islands or Jamaica or Hawaii, you know, any place like that. But I don't know that I can. And it pisses me off. I feel like since I had the ketoacidosis that my weakness has been worse. And I just can't. My brother and his girlfriend and their girls came down for Thanksgiving, like the weekend after Thanksgiving, and they wanted to go to the zoo, and I couldn't go. And then cooking a Christmas dinner, I was trying to slice potatoes on a mandolin. I got halfway through and I couldn't do it anymore. There for a while, Rob was having to cut up my food. I realized this morning that I have to buy a shower chair. And I try to be so grateful because at least I'm still here. But at the same time, it's just so hard. I think my brother is with someone who will be his wife for forever, and you know, they're talking about having kids later down the road, and I've always wanted more nieces and nephews, but I can't do anything with them. I'm ready for the grief to go away. I'm really ready to just be back. I'm just, you know, this is my new life, and I have to get used to it, but it doesn't make it easy. You know, it doesn't help. It's okay, Mama, I'm all right. So yeah, but finding joy, right? Okay, so enough of that. So $379, yeah, is the weigh-in for this week. Maybe I'll just do them on Fridays. Again, I'll just do them when I feel fine. I bought a wig. Her name is Evangeline. Hopefully I'll get a chance to wear it. And that's been another thing too, is just I felt so unattractive, which has never been an issue for me. Even at my heaviest, I have always had confidence and I've been fine with who I am. Like I say, I'm not losing weight for vanity at all. I could stay, if I didn't need back surgery and I, you know, didn't have so much weakness, I wouldn't even bother losing weight because I was fine. Other than the diabetes, you know, I didn't have any other health problems. So it's not a vanity thing, but you know, it's just like, I don't know. It's my hope that being off Cymbalta, being off anything will just kind of help. So yeah, so that's it for me. Thank you for joining me. If you're new, sorry. I don't cry in every video. I do cry in some videos. This is my life. It's real, it's raw, it's unscripted, it's, you know, good, it's bad, it's everything in between. So yeah, so I appreciate you so much. I hope you guys had a fantastic Christmas. I hope you had a fantastic New Year. I hope your tax returns are happy, are good to ya. I'll be okay. I think I just gotta roll with the punches. I mean, like I said, there's nothing I can do. There's no cure for myasthenia gravis. Maybe there will be someday, but there's not right now. So I just have to adjust and go on about my day. So that's what I'm gonna do. So right now I'm gonna go make a ribeye. Cause I just had a bite of a snack earlier. So I'm gonna make lunch and get this posted. So thanks so much, guys. Like I said, I hope everything is well with you, and I'll talk to you soon. Bye for now.